Everyone, I am a dermatology resident and I have tried to compile today's inicet Dermatology Recall for you all. I would like to thank Dinanka, Utkarsh and Rishabh for helping me compile this. So this question is basically not from dermatology, but the diseases are derma related. So there was a match the column for the incubation period of various diseases, and this is the right answer. Then there was a question where the images were given of two types of lines, and it was asked what type of line it is. So in your exam they had given free tension lines, and one of the options was Blaschko's lines. So basically Blaschko's lines are the lines along which various cells and various structures migrate embryologically, whereas Langer's lines are the lines where if you cut along them you'll have minimal scarring. Okay, so these are related to where you should cut to get minimum scar, and Blaschko's lines are lines where hereditarily structures migrate. Structures migrate along Blaschko's lines, so they are very different. Then there was an immunofluorescence image. So in dermatitis herpetiformis, we know that there are papillary tip deposits of IgA which flourish like this. So you'll have focal deposits, normal epithelium and then deposit, normal epithelium and then deposit. Some of it might spill over, so you're seeing it like this. Then in pemphigus vulgaris, we know that there is a fishnet pattern, and in your exam they had asked bullous pemphigoid which has a linear line like this. Now they had also asked you a question on psoriasis rosea. So from what I've heard, they had given you the image of a Herald's patch and they had asked you to match it with what is the other finding that you might see in the same disease. So since it's a Herald patch, you can see for yourself in P. rosea, you see a Christmas tree pattern. Isn't it like a Christmas tree pattern? So that is what you see in P. rosea. Then another option was Wickham striae of lichen planus. So this is what you'll see in lichen planus. Then there was a question where they had given history of multiple intercourse with recurrent abortions and painless ulcers, and they had asked the next test or the first test. So if that was the question, although I'm not I would not say that I cannot be wrong, but if they had asked the first or the best test, I would have gone for VDRL because it's easily available, it is cheap. But if they would have asked for the best test, I think probably the answer would have been FDA ABS. But according to the recall that I've got, they had asked the next thing to do, and that would have been VDRL because it's easily available and cheap for the patient. Then there was a question on non-scarring alopecias are all except or something like that. So we know that alopecia areata, androgenetic alopecia, telogen effluvium, all of them are non-scarring. But there was some option of a fibrosing alopecia, so obviously that will be scarring. Okay. In telogen effluvium, because of poor nutrition or something, the hair just fall off like that. So you will still see stubs. And in androgenetic alopecia, the falling is hormonal. So there's no component of nothing that could actually trigger fibrosis or something. And in alopecia areata, it is autoimmune. Again, very specific antibodies, so nothing to trigger fibrosis as such. Although this is a very vague way to remember it, but I'll teach you this in detail someday, so probably you'll be able to get my mnemonic here. Then Wood's lamp. So again, that was a match the column question. So in vitiligo you have milky white color, in erythrasma you get coral red color, and in tinea capitis you have green color. This is a factual question, needs no explanation. Then there was a question. So pemphigus vulgaris has a suprabasal split, that was the assertion, and row of tombstones is seen in pemphigus vulgaris. So basically, suppose this is the epidermis. So if you have a suprabasal, just above the basal layer, if you have a split like this, obviously you'll see row of tombstones. But I think this does not, the row of tombstones does not explain why we have a suprabasal split here. So both the statements are true, but the reason does not explain the assertion. If it was vice versa, probably the answer would have been different. So row of tombstones we see because of suprabasal split, but suprabasal split is not seen because of row of tombstones. It is seen because of let's say the proteins which are present here, if they are defective and all. So probably DSG1-2 would have come in the reason for this suprabasal split, or the hemidesmosomes would have come. Desmosomes, not hemidesmosomes. DSG1, DSG3, all of that. Now, renal transplant patient on azathioprine, cyclosporin, mycophenolate mofetil pricked with a thorn, aerobic filamentous fungi, AFB positive. They could not have given any more hints. Some of you were saying that all the other options other than nocardia were bacterial, and they had asked of filamentous fungi. So some of you have answered it by that clue, but rest of you were saying that even actinomyces was in the option, and then aerobic and AFB were the clue for nocardia. Then there was a picture of a blister with a little bit of charring around it. So when you have charring and all, it's unlikely to be BP and PV. And in BP and PV, they will actually not give you a single blister. They will give you multiple blisters all over the body. So if they had given a single blister like that, and obviously it wasn't just erythema, there was also blistering. So if it's like that, you have to remember that it is due to your burn, or probably like burn only, because there was some amount of charring around it. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. If you guys have any more queries, you can like DM me on passionate_dermatologist, and we can get back there. You can check out my YouTube for the previous recall videos of other videos you might need regarding dermatology counseling or something.